So, hi student, welcome back, and today we are going to continue our lesson on variation. So previously we already learned about chromosome, we already learned about allele, we already learned about DNA, we already learned about how the and we already learned about fertilization process. This thing is called fertilization. The the eggs you need to draw the line, and sometimes the question asks what is this called, and sometimes students cannot answer. It's called fertilization, and then the recessive gene, and dominant gene, and so on. So we are not going to learn that because we already learned that previously, and we are going to learn something new today and finish this chapter. So of course there is a fertilization, there is, we call it the crossing over in meiosis. Because we know what is meiosis and mitosis.
From two in the identical daughter cells, and then meiosis is a process where the cell divide into four distinct cells.
Yeah, okay, so we can see that mitosis form four identical daughter cell, and meiosis, we can see that there are many things you can see. Okay, that's why it's a whole chapter. Okay, one of it is because its daughter cell only got half chromosome. For example, there are many definitions we can look at. That's why we have the variation. Because if you say that mitosis is have the same, means all people will be look exactly the same. That is not good because we don't want everyone to look the same if everyone just undergo mitosis. But we can see here, we can see there are variety of phases, height, genetic, because there is meiosis and it create variation. So these are the variation. Wait, where is my pen? Let me take my pen. Okay, so this is called variation. We have a lot of variation. So why this variation happen? Okay, before that, let's learn about continuous variation and discontinuous variation. I think this one we learn at form 2, form 2 or form 1 or form 3, I forget already. Continuous variation and discontinuous variation. So of course we can see that continuous variation is usually something like this. That is continuous. You can see there is a line depending on the title, and discontinuous is discontinue. Okay, maybe it go up down up. It doesn't really matter already. Okay, it don't show a pattern. It shows something, it shows the data, but there is no fixed pattern. So continuous variation is, it has a continuous variation that show different, that are not distinct or not clear between individual population. So again, let's remember definition. Continuous variation, because sometimes exam will ask, is the variation that show differences that are not distinct. Okay. So these are, for example, not distinct. Okay, not distinct or not clear between individual in the same population. For example, we can say height and weight. For example, let's look at this graph. This is the number of students, 1 to 10. These are the height. Let's say this is for form 2 student. Let's say lah, this is for form 2. It can be form 3, can be form 4, can be form 5. But I just feel weird why it didn't write the title. Because if you study maths or science, you know that the graph you must write a title, okay, height for Form 2 student. If not, you just do this graph, then when, like for me, I'm reading the graph, how I know it's Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, or what age? I also don't know. But anyway, assume it's Form 2 lah, anything. So you have a graph, usually you have the x and y axis same lah, marking scheme, 1 mark. You have this one labeling, okay, and then you have the graph. Okay, then we can see that there is a continuous pattern, because we know that 160, 166 is usually the highest, 145 and 180 usually is the lowest. So this is for Form 2 in KL, for example. But if I am going to use this at Seremban, I want to use this at Pulau Pinang, I want to use at America, US. I'm using mouse, it's difficult to write. I want to use at UK. If I want to tabulate the data, again is the same. So we have a bell shape. If you got learn at maths, then you know why you want to learn a bell shape, because it is a common pattern that we can see in the probability. Common pattern, because usually here is normal, so usually your height will be in the middle, and then we say here is the outlier, means not normal. So if you are here, means you are normal. If you are here, means you are not normal. So this is why we want to learn the probability, what are the chances, and so on. So this is called continuous variation. MS is fun. Don't think it's some subject to score, think it's some game. It's like actually a game. If you and you, it's fun just think it like a game, and you will get A for your MS. Discontinuous variation is, it shows the differences are very distinct. It's not clear. For example, like ability to roll tongue, fingerprint, earlobe, and blood group, where it is not clear. So we can see there is a discontinuous variation in the national source. Okay, for example, if I want to do this, this is the blood type. If I do let's say your class, I don't know, maybe 4A, and then we have class 4B, we have class 4C, we have class 4D. All of it show a different pattern. It show a distinct. Where's my distinct? Discontinuous variation is, it has a discrete shape. It represents discontinuous variation that is qualitative. So it is very distinct, because here just there's no distinct. There are distinct or very clear between the individual, and this one is, it has a discrete shape. So if I want to do class 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, not the same. Everyone will have, maybe some class is this one up, this one down, and then some class will be this one down, this one up, this one down. So there is no clear pattern. There is no clear pattern that we can see in this trait. So that's why it use a graph chart, graph bar. So it's a bar chart that it makes sense. You want to give a bar chart because there is no, the data is like that you want you cannot use a bar graph chart, then it can show the data but not clear. This one is very good. This one is a bar chart, is very good. And for this one we use a graph chart because it always show a bell, and it's very good. It can show you what is the normal, what is the outlier, outlier that is not normal. So why we want to learn this? Why we want to know about graph in science, continuous variation and discontinuous? Why we want to know this? Of course you want to know this, not because the exam asks. Okay, so of course we learn this for it's just the information. It show a pattern. Okay, when you grow up, when you go to university, all this is continuous data. It shows a pattern. The thing that we already learn. Height is a height. Weight is a, we call it as a, anything that we can say. Continuous variation is a quantitative. I don't think exam will ask. So it's a quantitative that we can measure some data. We can measure it, and some data is not the same. For example, this is qualitative, where there is no point in measuring the data. But if you use your bar chart to measure quantitative, something to measure, something that can be measured, or you use a bar chart to do quantitative, it means that the person don't know what he is doing. He just simply use his graph chart and he doesn't really understand what he know or what he is studying. So of course, one day when you go to university, you will study the thing, then you know what chart to choose, and it show a pattern. It gives me the medical perspective, the doctor also some insight. Okay, height is like this one, then you know what to do. Okay, unable to roll tongue. I don't know whether you can and able to roll tongue. Usually most people can roll tongue, but some people, you go and ask all your friends, if you are in the classroom, you go ask all your friends. Some friends cannot do one. If your class got 40-50 people lah, I think 2-3 people cannot do. Then you can laugh at them. But I got a student that can even roll sideways, you know. That is like one. Some of your students can roll one sideways one if they want. Okay, so these are the continuous variation, discontinuous variation, and factor that cause variation we already learn. Because we don't want everyone face to be the same, because the is little bit, the son face little bit same like the father, little bit same like the mother, but it's not 100% same like the father, 100% same like the mother. Why? One of it because it is using meiosis. It's not mitosis, because mitosis have identical 4 daughter cell. Meiosis only have the chromosome, and there one of the reason, this one you need to know, there is a crossing over. I don't want to scroll up because later I scroll up it will take take so long for me to scroll up. So if you look at the meiosis, there is one process that is called crossing over, where the chromosome touch in one another, and this able it to genetic exchange genetic material. You go up, scroll the process of the meiosis. I don't want to scroll up, later it takes so long. Okay, so we can look at here. I wonder you can see or not. Let me erase this place. Erase. And take back my pencil. Chromosome shorter and thicken, and there is crossing over. There is the exchange of genetics. So these are the things that cause variation. Okay, this one cause variation. Okay, so you can see or not, this one and this one touch. X and X, you can see they touch one another, and then after that you can see change already. The chromosome start to change. But if you look at meiosis, this one is meiosis, nothing changed, you get back the same thing. And this is the meiosis, crossing over occur. So let's say the exam asks why there is variation. For example, exam asks why there is variation. Your answer will be because of genetic factor, or you can say because during meiosis crossing over happen, where it enables the exchange of genetic material. Just answer like that, because the exam will ask why why got variation? Why Ali is not same as the father? Oh, because there is variation due to crossing over where the chromosomes start to exchange genetic material. Oh, okay. You don't understand also never mind. Just write like that. Okay. Then you got your point already. Independent assessment of chromosome, random fertilization between male and female produce the zygote. Chromosome and gene will then produce a new phenotype due to the genetic information. So we have phenotype, we also have the genotype. Produce new phenotype, okay? Tall and short, that is the phenotype. Black eye, blue eye, that is a phenotype. Straight hair, curly hair, that is a phenotype. Depending on fertilization, we already know that the XXXX recessive chromosome dominant and recessive gene dominant gene, that also cause variation. So people are not the same, all of our change. Environmental factors such as pH, sunlight, temperature, water, climate, and nutrition will change. For example, if you can see that if you marry and live in Africa, for example, even both of you are Chinese, but if you got baby, usually the skin also become dark due to microevolution. If you married already, you go live at, for example, like Russia, because Russia is a place very cold, so eventually the person body become bigger, so become big and become very tall. That's why Western people are taller. If you married already, you live at Malaysia and you got your son, your son usually will become like chocolate color, like the orang asli lah, like orang asli, they are shorter a bit, they are chocolate color. Okay, so these are the difference of the temperature, sunlight, and the climate change. Even if I want to choose an Indian person and I put him at China and he married and got many sons, eventually he will become brighter skin, for example, due to the environmental factor. But this will take a lot of time lah, huh? It will take time, not so fast, but genetic faster is a lot faster lah, huh? A lot faster. If you married Malay, or if you married Chinese, or you married Western, you married Indian, straight away you got your characteristic that is more observable. But for the environment, it takes time. So it's like that. Okay, so the skin color change, the body size change, the language change, the culture change, but we can see that actually it is still the same race. Okay, where we call it the human race. We call it the human race, right? Importance of variation. So why variation? Why you want to have variation? All people is the same. Is it not good? Why? What is the importance of variation? Okay, importance of variation. So why we want to have variation? Because we got more people to marry. So we got handsome people, beautiful people. No lah, huh? Not because of that. Why variation is important? One of it is it can adapt to the environment. Majority of the group can adapt and survive in the changes. If all the individuals same, they will become extinct. Okay, people will become extinct. Due to variation, actually it produce different resistance. Can I find? I cannot find. There's a lot lah. There's a lot here. Okay, it produce some resistance that you can adapt to the environment. Let's say usually happen for plant and actually all human beings also the same. If you have variation, you are more better to adapt to the environment. Let's say you got COVID. Some people tolerance toward COVID is different because some people got COVID they will die. Some people got COVID that don't die. Some people also don't have COVID. I don't know uh, whether is it. Yeah, it's possible. Do you know there is some people their body is maybe better, stronger, resistant towards COVID, and when they is the most troublesome people because when they got COVID they don't know, and they will spread. They will just hatchiu only, and they don't have fever, they don't have cough, so they don't know they have COVID as well. And some people got COVID they will die. So if there is no variation, all people is the same, means if the person got COVID die, then the COVID will infect all person and all person will die, because there is no variation. But variation cause a change, and they are more resistant. So eventually everyone is not the same. Some people can tahan COVID, some people cannot. When they have COVID they will die. Some people, so variation actually it cause many types that has the ability to adapt to the environment. Okay, it can be recognized. It can variation allows natural selection. This one we haven't learned. This during for the evolution of organism. This one can be a new whole one chapter if you want to study this. Okay, so basically in evolution they believe not I believe the belief of natural selection means the strong will survive, the weak will die. So if you are strong, you are beautiful, or you are what, you will continue to continue your species, survival of the fittest. So if you are strong, you are wise, you are handsome, then you can marry and continue to live. And if you are weak, for example, you are very weak, you are very poor, not good looking, and very all things also not good lah. So eventually there are chances that the person will not survive, and the person will die. Maybe someday because he's weak so he got COVID, he died already. So when he died, there is no continuous of his species. So the weak die and the strong survive. So this allows, they say this is natural selection. So it's natural. Weak people die, strong people will live. Maybe in the world system also like that, right? The rich will usually live longer, happy. The poor, when they die also, no people don't know. So this is the natural selection. which I don't like, where organism with less suitable character will become. So you can see that organism with less characteristic will become extinct. Means no more already lah, because you are weak, you are not good, then no more already lor. One day the thing die, no more. So I'm not talking about human lah, animal as well. So the strong animal will survive, the weak animal, because the weak animal cannot continue to pass on the genetic, so the gene will just die. The strong will continue to pass on the genetic, so it will continue to survive. And this is Charles Darwin natural selection. I don't know why they put here. It takes actually the whole chapter to talk about it. Variation help organism to camouflage. Okay, so yeah, there is a change of color because of variation. For example, we can see there is a maybe white bear in winter, brown bear in the jungle. Then you can camouflage, means people cannot see you. You don't want a brown bear or black color bear to be in the Russia winter there, then people can see, but you can see the bear is actually white color. So this also is one of the reasons we have variation to help organism to camouflage, to protect themselves from predator. But of course, bear is not Where is the predator? Okay, variation in animal and plant to increase their value. Correct or not? Plant can increase the value. If you are very good in biology, then you can produce variation. So we have Musang King, because Musang King not just you like that then come out already. Yeah, I got the Musang King or D24 or the red prawn. All this you need to study. You want to make a good durian tree, you want to study your science, you want to study your bio properly, so you can know how to do the variation, maybe by crossbreeding or by I don't know, maybe some genetic modified product or what. So you want to make a good durian that you can increase the value and get the money. Yeah, not. So maybe you want to try. One day you want to mix Musang King with D24, you mix Musang King with red prawn, and you try to get what is the best durian that you want, and your tree is more resistant towards the disease, so that you can increase the value. Yes, so we really learn how to earn more money. Okay, I got friend that plant durian, very rich one. Okay, very rich. Okay, so I think we already conclude this chapter. This is a very long chapter. Okay, so maybe I can ask you some question. What is mean by variation? Very good. Okay, variation is the differences in characteristic individual from the same species. Okay, so of course, monkey have monkey variation, elephant got elephant variation from the same species. But if you say like human and monkey, that is not called variation. That is other thing. Name two types of variation.
And discontinuous variation.
Continuous and discontinuous variation. Okay, this one maybe could be 4-mark question. Compare and contrast both type of variation that you stated. So we can see this is, for example, continuous and discontinuous variation. Why I cannot move this thing? Okay, we can see it here, continuous variation, discontinuous properties, there are no distinct value, tends to be quantitative, there's distinct category. So definition, you get 1 mark, and then you just give one example. Okay, example like height and weight, and then example as tongue rolling and fingerprint. So remember to, it depends on what the exam asks lah. Let's say it is 4 mark or 2 mark. So the first one is, just now you already mentioned the definition. Okay, one is show a distinct category and no distinct category, or more discrete, and then you give some example. Okay, then you got full mark. Depend on your question. Okay, state 2 genetic factors that cause variation. What are the 2 genetic factors that cause variation?
In mutation produce new phenotypes.
Yeah, okay, chromosome gene mutation. So up to you lah. So for me, if I want to say, I will say random fertilization. Okay, random fertilization between male and female gamete. So eventually you have 4, and that has a what? So that's why I say random fertilization between male and female gamete. Another one I would say crossing over. Okay, because crossing over, that there is an exchange. The crossing over occur. I will just write like that. Crossing over occur during meiosis, and there is a random exchange of gamete during the fertilization process. Okay, so you can write this now. There's 2 points. How does environmental factor cause variation? Explain it by giving example. Environmental factor. So we can say that environmental factors such as maybe you just choose two lah. Maybe you use sunlight and temperature. And then the question asks for example. You don't need to copy everything, okay? You just make it simple a bit. So you can say a person will have a darker skin if he always exposed to the sunlight. That should done it already, okay? So if you don't believe me, every day you go under the sun. See whether your skin will become forever black or not if you forever go to under the sun. State 3 importance of variation. So why variation is important? 3. So okay, so maybe you can say help themselves to adapt to the environment. It has caused different and recognition of each individual, means not the same face lah, so that everyone will recognize you. And variation allows natural selection where suitable characteristic value. Well, this one frame until very nice, the word. The word, right? Like natural selection is very good because only the suitable characteristic will continue to live. But the not so good one is the one that good will die. Or here got say, he won't say die lah, I say extinct. If you're not so good, then you will extinct, you will disappear forever. So that is sometimes but this is what science they teach lah, what the science teach, and what do you think?
Difficult to answer
Yes, very difficult to answer. What do you think about the what? Because natural selection is the strong one will live and the weak one will extinct. That is usually the university question lah, or the philosophical question. But this is science lah. That's why we don't put our main premises on science. We don't base everything on science, especially on the way we live. Because if some people say I don't believe in anything, I only believe in science. So the next question I will ask is, you believe in natural selection? The person will say yes, I believe in science, I believe in natural selection. Then the next question I will ask, if natural selection, the strong will live and the weak will die. Then the person will say yes, the strong will live and the weak will die. Then my next question is, so if you see weak people, poor people, sometimes poor and weak people that die, we should let them die, because according to natural selection the strong survive, the weak will die correct or not? Then usually the person will because you say you believe in science only, you only say you believe in science. So science is like this, the strong will survive and the weak will die. So that's why I don't put the premises of science the most top. If you always put science as to explain everything, then people die also, you must accept, because according to natural selection it's like that the strong one will live, the weak one will die. And why are you say that you don't want to let the weak die? So we don't only look things at science. That's why in the school we need to learn moral, we learn literature, we learn mathematics, we learn religion, philosophy, and many more things that we need to learn in order to look at something. Don't just say I want just science. You want just science, then the person will go Holland, because here also you just say science means let the person die easier. So that is not the case, and we know from our heart, our moral conscience. Okay, so that so that is for this chapter. So we are going to take a short break, and I see you later.